Hello and you're welcome back to part 4 of types of therapy. This one I'm going to be talking about solution focused brief therapy, SFBT, if that's not a mouthful for you. And this is usually used it's a very short term therapy it's used in the likes of EAP work as I mentioned earlier. So CBT and SFBT will be used in EAP work, employee assistance programs, and that the employee will benefit on the short term therapy. And the focus of this, and it's lovely and honest. It's very straightforward. It doesn't promise you anything that it's not going to provide. So it doesn't go into the deep emotional trauma if you have any historic stuff going on for you. It was just short term, goal directed approach to focuses on solutions rather than problems. So how can we fix what's happening to you now? So it can be really helpful for people, especially for like so if they financially, when it's been provided by your employer, it's brilliant because if you can't pay for therapy outside, this is offering you some sessions to deal with immediacy, get your problem sorted. Let's see, can we come up with solutions, and you fix the problem yourself. So it's amazing. So to put it simply, helps you to identify and build on what's already working. So what's working, what has worked in the past, when this person did it before, does this always happened? What happened in the past? How did you get over this? Is that something you can do again? What has changed? Blah blah blah, and you start creating a little bit of a system so that the person can really look at, okay, that's how I fix my problem. So focus on solutions, strengths rather than problems, and defines practical steps towards goals. And it's always in fewer sessions. It's always very short term. So we're talking 6 sessions max. Narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is helps people separate themselves from their problems and reauthor the story of their lives. And some people can use it in therapy, in general therapy, with journaling and write down stuff and let's see what comes out. And then we'll be able to review how the person is in the world, how they see themselves, and then the client then can redesign and rewrite how they see themselves and what way they want their life to be and stuff like this. But um, so put simply, it helps you to reshape the story you tell about yourself so you feel more empowered. It'd be quite interesting too, because if you're always negative, if you hear people always been very negative, oh no, I'm no good at that, I can't do that. If you could reshape that and start to say, well, actually, I am actually quite good at that. Um, and then we'd explore feelings and this. So, I think as well, there's pieces of each of these therapies within our general practice, general therapy. So it explores the idea, narrative therapy explores the idea that you're not the problem. You're not your problem. So people always believe that my life is terrible. It's my fault. I did this, but that's simply not true. So this narrative therapy will help you get there and explain to you that you can write your own story. You have the power. Gives you the power back. So reframes your personal narrative to a more empowered you and puts you more in control. And we have family systems therapy. Um, and you can again have family systems therapy as a standalone therapist, or you can have family systems therapy within therapy itself. And I would use a little bit of family systems, and mostly I'd use internal family systems therapy, which is a different thing again. So what family systems therapy is, it focuses on family dynamics and how each person affects the others. Very important if you think about it. Like we all, we know the fact that every single child in a family of 8 has a different mammy. So you have to think with that in mind, that everyone has interactions with each other. Um, so put simply, it helps families improve communications and solve problems by understanding the systems they create together. So if you had I had a previous thing where a parent wanted to bring their children in, adult children in, and you could kind of go, well, where are you in the relationship and stuff like that. So it could be quite good. Um, and again, this could be standalone or it could be used within normal therapy, and it's up to the therapist to decide what they want to use, if they want to use this. So the goal of family systems therapy then would be to improve family dynamics and communication by addressing how the system works. So again, as we understand, the family is just a system. The system is broken. Well, how can we fix the system? Can we fix the system, or is the ultimate goal of family systems therapy to happily just head on? And then just very briefly, even though it's not a brief thing, but psychoanalysis is another form of therapy, and psychoanalysis is the ones you might see on the telly where the therapist has the couch. The therapist might be more detached, whereas the therapy I practice doesn't have a couch. Well, I have couches, but we don't ask you to lie on the couches. The couch is for your comfort. I face you, and with the psychoanalysis, the therapist doesn't face the client. They usually sit off to the side or behind them. The therapist will write, they'll have a notebook and they'll write, and the client will use a couple of things to either free associate, which means to just randomly say things that come into their mind. The therapist will write down what's happening for them and what they're saying and this kind of stuff. So they deal with free association, they deal with dream analysis, they go into transference, which is transference would be basically what the client feels. Like in the therapy room, the transference would be what the client feels about you, and counter transference would be what the therapist feels about the client, and so on. And if you take that into the world, your transference is how you feel about the shopkeeper, how you feel about the doctor, how you feel about your parents, and so on. And then there's also transferences happening all the time. So then they look towards insight. So it's basically a very, very simple way of explaining a very, very complex therapy in my head's gone, hold on. Psychoanalysis, which is Freudian. Psychoanalysis would be Freud, whereas my practice would be Carl Rogers. If anyone's interested, it's really well worth looking up Carl Rogers and how he changed therapy. Anyway, I'll be coming back with the final video in this series, just very short. Try to make it very simple and easy to understand each areas of therapy. Thank you.